What was the real beef between Slaughterhouse and Canibus?
I don't think it's Slaughterhouse as a whole, but it was something with
remember in the
Royce
disaster battle, he did take shots at them and say, like, you know,
well, that was Canibus just taking shots. I don't think
Right.
all of Slaughterhouse hated Canibus, though. Canibus is just fucking, you know, throwing haymakers and seeing what lands.
Oh, okay.
I remember Royce got upset because Architect released a song that was like Canibus and Royce that was older, and Royce had already expressed like a disdain for Canibus, and then they put the song out making it seem like everything was all buddy-buddy. So that Royce took issue for that. That was like when we were doing Undergods. But Sound Records and Entertainment, Crooked Eye told me this. I didn't even know this. You know, Crooked Eye's on the Undergods album, but that's when Sound Records could have signed Slaughterhouse. They could have signed Macklemore and didn't. So it's like, that's where the label has to take blame. But instead, you signed Undergods and 60 Second Assassin and Bronze Nazareth. It could have been like the most popular record label ever. With Macklemore and Slaughterhouse, and instead, you got fucking the miscellaneous. But like Crooked Eye said that Noah, the VP, offered him money to get Slaughterhouse to do a diss song against the Undergods, which I was like, yo, that's hilarious.
What?
So they didn't do it, but I learned later that really happened. Ken, the president, told me that was Noah's idea, and I'm like, he was glad that, you know, it didn't happen. But
I'm pretty sure Royce dropped a diss track to Canibus, though, didn't he?
Old Slaughterhouse. For Slaughterhouse to make a Canibus and Keith Murray diss song.
Right.
Yeah, Royce, I'm sure, has some shots at Canibus, and Canibus had shots at Joe Budden and all that shit too, but Canibus has never disliked Crooked Eye. I think he had some issues with Joel Ortiz stemming back from some like old touring stories or some shit.
Were you there where there was the situation where Royce and Canibus were supposed to work together, and then Canibus told Royce, well, you can write my verse too? And Royce's reaction was like, wait, but you're Canibus, like, and it was like
I was not present for this.
Wow. Because I really think that a lot of that beef, it kind of stemmed from like Canibus's disdain for the Eminem situation, and because M went and signed them.
You know, Royce started following me on Instagram after our last set of interviews where I was calling out his manager for fucking stealing from him. No, Royce, like I said, Royce knows I'm telling the truth. Like, he was there for the situation. He went back and found out, like, yo, so this M80 called you first to like bring this business to me, and you told him I couldn't do it. And then then I ended up doing it when he called me directly. But like, why would you? Yeah, like, so Royce found out the truth. He knows I was right. But like, that's his manager. And, you know, sometimes when you have little petty theft here and there and discrepancies, like, you weigh the totality, like, well, you've done more good than bad for me.
Right.
Yep. I had one of my friends cost me 30 G's on a deal once, and I didn't talk to him for like 6 months. They're not even in the music industry. They were just hanging around some of the artists and said something. I told them in confidence. And then the artist was like, felt away about it. I was like, well, fuck it. I'm not going to promote this record. I'm not going to, and it hurt me. But then when I sold the masters, I ended up making the money back, and we became friends again. But like, I told him, like, I didn't think I'd ever talk to you again because I was really mad about, I mean, you're my friend. There's no reason as my friend that's not even in this line of work you should ever cost me $1.
Yeah, I think I remember you talking about this.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But I definitely think that Canibus felt the way because of the Eminem deal with Slaughterhouse, because he's always had this like weird feeling towards M, where like it's like almost like he doesn't hate him, but he does, you know. He didn't get the kind of reaction.
Listen, I think I said this in a past interview. Canibus never really let it go that I was in the studio with Eminem that day with Crooked Eye, and that I went on to work on these other Eminem records just from that one session. But it was more so like, M, thank you for like letting me know before the internet, like, oh, your fucking manager or A&R guy was in the studio with Eminem. It's like, I wish that I could be there. I wish that I could have the photo. I wish that I could tell my kids that I wasn't a fuck up. Like, yes, I had some career up and downs and shit, but like, you know, I outgrew that version of me. But now it's like you're too far removed. You don't get to go from working an HVAC job to being in the studio Marshall. Like, it's not going to happen. But I got it. So it's like he only ramped up his feelings of disdain towards M and towards me that when more and more people were calling him about it, trying to make him feel bad, like I was a traitor. And it's like, dog, I worked with 20 clients before I ever met you. And since you, I've worked with 180 more. So it's like, of course, I'm going to cross paths with people you don't like. You're going to cross paths and work with people I don't like. Like, I remember, and I talked to RJ Payne about this like maybe 6 months ago. There was a time where I was really trying to help RJ. And I was doing it for free. And I was really pulling all my resources. Like, when the deal with BSF wasn't working, we're going to work out for his favor. And I'm shopping RJ around. And we're just, all the deals are coming back the same. Like, we'll take the back catalog, we'll take a new album, but there's no performance history because he's done everything himself. There's no music on DSPs. It was all on his website. So even though you got Eminem shouting you out, you got Lil Wayne shouting you out, that in my mind would be enough for a label to put a financial investment into this person. But it wasn't happening. And then RJ just kind of stopped talking to me. RJ wanted Canibus on a song. Canibus had known the story, so asked me if it was okay for him to do the song. I said, yeah, of course. Yeah, he's still dope. Like, it's just unfortunate that, like, I really believed in the guy and nothing came of it. RJ had seen an interview I did with you and then reached out to me and was like, there's so much more to you than I ever could have understood. So, like, my apologies if it felt like I just fucking, like, stopped talking to you. Because there was no reason to stop talking to me. I'm not asking you for money. I'm not asking you for shit. I'm helping you because I'm in a position to help. And I could have brokered this deal with 3 or 4 different labels that I think would have been good for him. But I told him in reality, if I was in the picture when the Benny situation was on the table, I probably would have had you assess that better. Because being with Benny at the time would have made you instantly the right-hand man. Like, you would have been the most skilled. You would have instantly surpassed any of the BSF guys. He then, Westside would have taken notice. Like, Westside pulled Stove God from Rock Marciano. Rome Streets was already with Muggs. These people weren't just out of nowhere. SD Neck was already Tragic Allies. All these people had shit going for themselves. RJ Payne had something going for him. Benny could have definitely helped him. And then Westside would have fucking amplified that shit. So I would have given more candor to that than just say no for whatever reasons made RJ say no.
Do you know what happened?
But it's nice to know that people do watch your shit and people listen and people, reflect on it.
I think more people watch than they like to admit, but
yeah.
Because you've seen like some reactions come out of this because of that. We've seen some things happen. But do you know what happened between Benny and RJ?
No, it was nothing, like, no bad blood. It was a deal that RJ thought was, like, offensive. But then when I started shopping him to other labels, they were all offering a similar deal. So Benny, whether you believed it was offensive, that's because in your mind, you felt like there was a giant bag out there for you. But no, these labels, it didn't matter that you were getting all these fucking major cosigns. Maybe it would have mattered 15 years ago. You could have used that. If Eminem gave me a cosign 15 years ago, I'm getting a 6-figure bag somehow, somewhere.
Right.
Right? Even that really dope guy that was on a Kanye album made like 7 figures. Even Freaky Zeke got a 7-figure album deal from being this guy in the Diplomats.
Right.
Like, there was money. There was way more money there before. But no, like, he just took offense to Benny's album offer or signing offer, which would have included the back catalog and then reintegrating it into the DSPs and then generating revenue that way. But that's what all the labels end up offering.